So, Geoff, this was your first episode with us to sit down and hang out and talk all nerd and all geek. What'd you think?
Pretty good. Done this a bunch of times with Chris without a microphone, so it's
Yeah.
nice to have other people hear our opinions.
Yeah.
And we get into so many tangents in this episode. That
We kind
that
of
is
did.
a stigma of Jeff Mack.
Yeah.
That is I blame him. He's our tangent lucky
He-
charm or unlucky charm.
You brought the tangents with you, did you? Okay. Well, at least what happened last show didn't happen with you because Chris already knows you. They literally didn't recognize the guy that I brought in for the
Right.
for the last episode. It was pretty
Sorry.
fun. It was pretty fun. But yeah. So stay tuned. We got a great episode coming up for you.
Full of tangents.
Hit the music.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, four colossal nerds named Saba, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom. With their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls. They fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
Welcome back to another episode of Meanwhile Back on the Podcast. I'm Frank McGuire.
I'm Saba Mir.
I'm Chris Abana.
I'm GMAC.
You guys just heard one of our newest co-hosts, our buddy Geoff. What's going on, Geoff? Your first show with us?
Excited.
How you doing, man?
excited.
Yeah?
Good.
You excited?
Yes.
It's a good time. It's a good time. You came to us by way of Chris. You guys are actually buddies.
Mm-hmm. In real life. Almost
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah.
Almost
And-
real life.
In almost real life. And when we first met you, I was pretty impressed with your breadth of knowledge in terms of this world of fandom. And you showed up wearing a Green Lantern t-shirt. So
Yeah, dressed to
Oh
impress, right?
man,
dressed to impress. Yeah,
Frank, you
without
must
a
have
doubt.
lost your mind.
I kind of did. I was like, this may be a better version of Chris. That's what I said to myself.
Oh,
That's what I said when I pitched him. I'm like, we're gonna get a nerd expert, like a nerd analyst finally.
A nerd analyst. Nice. So guys, we got a great show for you today. I'm not going to waste any more time. I think we're all just chomping at the bit to talk about this Disney Plus trailer that dropped this Super Bowl weekend. It's titled The Big Game Spot on YouTube. Just fucking mind-blowing, like what we got to see in this trailer. We got to see Loki, we got to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we got to see Wandavision. So let's break down this trailer kind of as it happened. We open up on we open up on Captain America's shield, stuck in a tree of all places, and then we see these two arms reach out and grab it. And what, like, after seeing the Watchmen and what they've been able to do in the context of comic book films or comic book television, and where they've kind of positioned, the post-racial world that we're trying to all live in now with Dr. Manhattan, and the way that they've done this with, such an iconic symbol like Captain America's shield with two African American arms reaching out to grab that shield. I thought that was really powerful. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but I definitely felt it was pretty powerful. And then we pull back and there's Sam Wilson, and he's literally practicing his shield throw. Now,
Getting there, man. You're getting there.
what?
He's getting there.
He's getting there.
That toss was
Yeah.
like, level 2.
We got to talk about this toss thing, okay? Because did he get the super soldier serum at some point?
It did.
Because I'm sorry, human beings cannot fucking throw a shield like that. It just,
Eh.
It could be
Ha-
like a combination of vibranium itself, and I can give
No.
leeway to a point if it.
And it didn't look like it didn't look like a super soldier throw either. Like
Yeah.
it looked
it
like
looked pretty super soldiery,
I don't
bro.
know. For me-
man,
for-
vibranium's kind of light though, so shouldn't it be easier
That's
to throw?
true.
I don't know,
regardless?
man.
and if we're talking about like human limitations, just look at Hawkeye and like Black Widow, and that's kind of what I love about the Marvel universe is like they don't give a shit about that. Like it's like
True.
like they need to get it as close to the comic like strip as possible.
True.
And they're like, fuck human limitations. But I do kind of think that like that throw wasn't quite there for me. Like it wasn't like Bucky throwing it in in Winter Soldier or
Yeah.
Captain America throwing it at the first time ever at like a Hydra soldier or something. It looked weaker, and it looked like he needs to like practice more.
Yeah,
right?
but I think that's the point.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
for sure think that's the point. Like, he is trying to, and we'll talk about more what we think the show is about or what we've heard it's about, but he's trying to grow into that mantle and also feel like accepting of it. Because there seemed, I don't know about you, but there's kind of a look of doubt on his face. Maybe it's not doubt, but like not being sure.
Mm.
Like I feel like I got a lot of that from the Falcon, at least from that beginning scene.
Did you guys take anything from the setting of that shot? Because I
Yeah.
definitely did.
I thought it
What'd
was
you get from it?
Iron
Iron
Man's
That's what I
house?
thought too, right?
Iron Man's house.
Oh, I
Kinda
thought they were
looked
still
like at the end
there.
of Endgame.
Don't you mean
know,
Hawkeye's house?
Yeah, kind of. But it
Oh,
looks
I
very-
thought it was
No,
definitely
I-
Iron Man.
I thought it was Iron Man's house. Like
It looked very
not.
swamp.
Oh, you
Yeah,
mean like the
swampy.
cottage?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
cottage.
cottage.
The
From
cottage.
Endgame?
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I didn't feel like that at all.
Oh, really?
It, to me, okay, so
Because
it
Hawkeye's
definitely-
house doesn't have as many trees.
Or a swamp.
true.
Yeah.
True. But it definitely for me it echoed back to it didn't echo back, but it had some very iconic elements of the American South, right?
Right.
The foliage, the swamp, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And Sam Wilson in comic book, obviously can't tell in a comic book. In the animated, he never really carried an accent, but Anthony Mackie definitely has a little bit of a twang to him, a little bit. So I could see him being from Atlanta. I could see him being from Louisiana. I could see him being from places where elements of this type of nature would be.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of feel like he went home. Like he went home back to his hometown to kind of escape whatever
Right.
they're dealing with at this point, which I think is the U.S. agent, obviously, kind of
Or the government
Yeah.
itself, really.
stepping
could
in
see
to
that, but I
decide
could-
who Captain America is going to be.
I could see that, but I could also see him staying in the place where he last saw.
That's what I was thinking. Was
Steve?
like
'Cause
that
I
was
feel
the
like-
scene right after.
I feel like
think
Pepper
so?
Potts would have left that place by now anyway. Like, I feel like Pepper wouldn't be at that house anymore.
And I feel like he was wearing the exact same jacket. I'm not sure, but like I always thought that it was the exact scene where he gets the thing and
So
he's
he
like,
throws
let
it
me
around.
throw it around.
That's the first thing I'd do.
Yeah, that's the first thing I would do.
No, I would actually pose with
fuck
it
this
first
tree.
and take some selfies.
Take some selfies.
Come on, you know you would.
Check out me and my new
No,
shield.
I'd slide down a hill. I
I get
think.
Chris to
I'd
take some
toboggan that shit.
Chris, I give you my camera, be like, can you take some pictures of me, please?
Hashtag Super Soldier Life. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for
Holy
sure.
shit, you'd be the worst hero, Sava. It'd be like secret identity, Sophie.
No, I wouldn't post it. I wouldn't post it anywhere. I'd only send it to my mom.
Right.
Yeah, from my memory, I don't really see the Stark's cottage. Like
Okay.
even if I think back in my mind,
Yeah.
because it was like Stark's cottage looked like it was more upstate New York, right, than say like in the South. And I feel like the
Right.
trees that were in that shot, like especially the ones with like the hanging kind of foliage, those definitely look like out
Weeping
of the
Willows.
South.
Yeah.
They don't really kind of echo the East Coast to me at all.
Sure.
So I think he's gone back home or whatever. So from that point, we cut to wingsuits. Guys jumping out of a plane with wingsuits. One guy has like 2 pistols, and then we see Sam Wilson with the Falcon suit,
Shieldless.
shieldless.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
no shield in
Shieldless.
sight.
Which is
I'll-
what I said. Like, aren't you like not balanced with the shield on one side of you? And it's just like, I don't know. Like, I always find that so weird.
I totally want to see how they make that work 100%.
Yeah.
But I think this is a flashback.
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at what he's wearing underneath the actual Falcon like the Falcon wings, it almost looks like athletic wear. Like he's just there to test out the equipment, right? Like I think we're getting a flashback to when he first started
when
in
he's
the
on
program.
active duty.
Yeah.
But if you look at the guys wing gliding, they have the Hydra colors too. So is he fighting?
Oh,
Hydra
they have
guys on?
Hydra guy. They
Yeah.
have Hydra
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah, they-
yellow,
they have
I didn't
the
pick up on
yellow and
that.
green wingsuits.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
So it's either like a reemergence of Hydra because they're supposed to be done, or
But that could have been 2 merged scenes too, because he's coming through a canyon and they're in wide open air too.
That's true.
Yeah.
That could be 2 merged scenes,
Right,
right?
right,
And I
right.
kind of feel like that shot of Sam is more
Although-
of a flashback. It's more training. Than
Although,
anything.
like, if he was training, wouldn't he be in like army attire instead
But that's
of?
also the new
Could be.
wingsuit. That's not the old
Yeah, I think
wingsuit.
it was the new
Oh,
one.
yeah, that's true.
It
you can
was.
tell. You can tell it's a new wingsuit.
Oh,
I
I
think
paused and screen
Fuck, I'm
cap.
glad
I
we
went
got
through-
you on this show. Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, so I was pausing to the thing. Sorry, and you can tell that it's the new wingsuit. It's the new costume and everything,
With the V
Okay.
with the
thing.
V on the chest and everything like that, and like
Yeah.
it's the new glider.
Okay.
It looks like a
Upgraded.
beak. It's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay,
Like the V.
it didn't look like that to me. I really felt like it was like a training thing. Oh well, okay, well, that's fine. I was right about the hometown thing, so that's cool.
We don't know that yet, Frank.
Yeah,
We have not
right.
confirmed that.
So we cut to Bucky. He's drawing down on Zemo,
That's right.
and the collar
With
is
the
a
new
giveaway.
haircut.
Yeah, that new haircut.
Pretty dope.
I
But
like it.
I miss the long hair.
But the way that they orient these scenes, or the way they edit these scenes, is you only see whoever the antagonist is that Bucky's drawing down on from the back, and we see that collar, right? And the collar is the dead giveaway. That's Zemo, 100%.
Mhm.
And then we cut to the bullets falling through his fist.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that was like the gun's not loaded, like it was like
No,
his.
I
like
think, I don't know. Maybe Geoff said it off screen, but like it was like, you know, oh, it's he's showing that like he won't kill Zemo because he's grown or whatever. I was thinking he doesn't need no goddamn bullets to beat the shit out of Zemo.
Yeah,
No,
'Cause
it's like he's
Yeah, it's definitely like the
trying to
redemption
his
thing.
redemption
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to be a bad
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah,
anymore.
he
He's
doesn't
proving
wanna-
that he's not a killer or an
Yeah.
assassin or a hired
Yeah.
dude anymore.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay,
he
good
won't
point.
be ruled by
Good
hate
for you,
anymore.
Bucky. Good for you.
Good
That's
point.
growth right there.
And his haircut looks
Man.
good. I gotta give it to him. His haircut looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both popping their collars too. Do you notice that? They're like having a
Yeah.
collar off. I don't know what that was, but and then we cut to WandaVision. At this point, that's when they switch over to WandaVision, and Wanda and Vision are in black and white, and it's very Dick Van Dyke kind of type of style. Like it's very 50s kind of like sitcom type of thing.
Mhm.
And Vision says, "Wanda, welcome home." I think this is the starting point. This is the
Yeah.
first time that Wanda meets Vision within the context of whoever's controlling this reality. And I'm going to throw it out right now. I don't think Wanda's controlling this reality at all.
You don't?
Okay.
No, I think there's evidence to that fact, and we'll get into that.
Ooh.
Okay.
I really do. And then there's Wanda with a Brady Bunch kind of motif to her in the 70s. And then there's a quick flash of Wanda in her Scarlet Witch costume. But that I don't think that's her like
No, it looked like costume like that you get from
Halloween
like, that you go
costume.
from
From like
party.
Value Village or
Yeah.
something.
yeah. And it kind of felt like Desperate Housewives. Like the kind of staircase, the aesthetic of the background, it kind of felt like Desperate Housewives. And I don't know if you guys are picking up on this, but all the sitcoms that they're referencing are all ABC. And I don't think that's because Disney and ABC are literally.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting.
So I think that they're all kind of
Sure.
they're all calling
But
back
I do
to
feel like
ABC
it's like-
shows.
I don't know if you guys, but there's like definitely like a laugh track too in it.
I caught that too, but it was very subtle.
But I think that's funny. Like this is the thing I like that Marvel is kind of doing is that they're exploring different genres of TV
Mhm.
or like movie that like just because it's a Marvel movie that's not just a genre unto itself. It's like, you know, they're making a horror movie out of like the multiverse of madness. Like this is obviously more than just a sitcom
Right.
feel, but I do like the idea of them like exploring these.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, going back to the Brady Bunch motif, did you guys notice she's pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's pregnant.
With
So
twin.
Well, you kind of see it
Maybe
with
with-
the cribs
yeah.
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what we
Twin.
see is Wanda and Vision in black and white, and then the progression into the 70s, she's pregnant. So I think each different kind of switch into each kind of TV motif is pushing the relationship in a certain direction. It has each of them has a different milestone.
Well, the fact
Right?
that there's two babies also calls back to the comics as well. like
Yeah,
the twin
Speed and
boys.
Wiccan. Yeah. And then the other thing is, we should talk about this. The show is only going to be 6 episodes.
Mhm.
So my thought process is this: is each episode is going to be a different sitcom
Right.
motif.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm almost confident of that at this point.
And then she's
Um,
gonna find out the babies aren't real, and then she's gonna go crazy.
I don't know.
Or
the
like find out that Vision's dead.
the
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah.
The babies could be real.
I don't know.
That's the thing. And
Well,
maybe Vision isn't
there's
dead.
a similar
That's true.
storyline in the comics
Mm-hmm.
where she finds out.
The babies aren't real. She wished them into existence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Which
that's
is
a
like-
possibility.
Which is like a perfect setup for like comic Wanda, but not MCU Wanda, because MCU Wanda is like spawned through the Mind Stone. And not that she was spawned through the Reality Stone, but if she was, this would make a lot more sense because it would coincide with her comic book powers, which is like reality warping.
right.
So like whether they make some like connection to the Mind Stone like somehow controlling reality now, or sorry, yeah, the Mind Stone controlling reality, which is like obviously the domain of the Reality Stone.
Right.
Your theory could hold some water about somebody else controlling this thing, but I would love for them to like find a way to sidestep into her actual power set from the comics, because
Mhm.
that would be amazing. Like I would love to see House of M like level Wanda, you know what I mean? Like with
Yeah.
the reality warping.
Yeah, no, for sure. I really want to see that too. I think I think what we should do is get through the trailer, and then I want to go into theories. Like,
Yeah,
I just
sure.
want to break down this trailer and go into theories, because I think that there's a lot to unpack, especially from WandaVision. I think WandaVision has more to unpack than anything else.
They showed the most for WandaVision for sure.
Yeah. And there's these little things, there's these little nods, there's these little hints, and there's lots of callbacks to comic books that our audience just may not be familiar with.
Yeah.
So
There was an interesting shot in particular that I found, which was Wanda wearing modern clothes and in
Yes.
color.
yes,
While everybody else is in black and white.
Yes.
So it's obviously like her.
when Vision's in
Yeah.
black and white with the tie and the sweater.
Even the background's black and white.
Seems like the beginning of it all. Actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
like
I
she
think-
gets snapped into it or
Yeah.
something, right?
I
Not
think that
snapped,
this is.
poor choice of
I
words.
think that this is the most important reveal in the entire trailer.
Mm.
Is this black
Oh,
and
okay.
white
Yeah.
and Wanda in street clothes in color? Like, I think
Right,
this
right.
is very telling. So the way that they edited this, the way they edited this trailer together, it wasn't like a bulk of Wanda, it wasn't a bulk of Falcon and Winter Soldier, it wasn't a bulk of Loki. They kind of mixed it up. So you kind of had to really watch to kind of piece everything together. And there's one scene where Wanda's in a wedding dress and there's Vision. So obviously they get married in this 50s motif. And then they flash over to the 70s motif. And she's like either listening in on a conversation in some sort of like Brady-esque kind of comedic moment. And you can see that she's definitely pregnant, like 100%. And then there's that thing where they're kind of Wanda's, what Chris you were talking about with Wanda in full color, and then Vision in black and white, and then the entire thing in black and white, and then that whole thing with Vision residence, and then it cuts over to U.S. agent running into a football stadium and like high-fiving people, and then it seems to be like a government effort, like they're almost celebrating maybe it's an unveil of the U.S. agent, maybe it's like the
Just
first
a very like typical like look at us rah rah rah
Yeah,
like
Propaganda for like
Yeah.
the States. Like,
Yeah.
look at us.
I kind of thought it wasn't an unveiling of
Like,
what's
it's
his
just like
name?
US agent.
U.S. agent, right.
Yeah,
I think it was like
played by Wyatt
they
Russell.
just never told anyone that like Captain America retired.
Like it's just like a tour. It's just like he's going to like he's
Yeah.
going here. He's gonna go somewhere else.
Very
He's
similar to what
Gonna, he's
Captain
gonna
America
hold some
did in-
babies.
Right,
Yeah.
but I think like most people, I think they're trying to sell the lie that Captain America never went anywhere. It's the same Captain America,
Probably.
and it's
yeah.
like, that's the whole thing that like kind of Sam Wilson has to deal with is this like not just inheriting the shield, but inheriting the
ideals.
Right.
ideal, the icon of
Yeah.
being Captain America, because like now they're selling this new Captain America, which probably looks more like Captain America than he does.
Yeah,
Right, so it's like to the rest of the world, like he's the fake Captain America, and he has to
Yeah.
like kind of live up to it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of this show. Like honestly, like
Yeah.
I like that. Like obviously, there's the whole Baron Zemo aspect. There's going to be other things, but the very fact is like the own government like doesn't trust Sam, who has like fought for his country and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah,
and whatever else, like to not carry that mantle, and him proving that he can. Because when he became Captain America, or when like he got the shield passed to him in Endgame, a lot of people were asking that question too. Like, is Sam Wilson the
Right.
one who should be Captain
Right.
America? So the fact that this show is going to kind of take that,
yeah,
I think that'll be really interesting.
they're going to do it through a racial lens, right? Like everybody needs to be prepared for that, because I think that they saw the successment that Watchmen experienced by again kind of politicizing.
I
Well,
mean,
you
that's
remember how
been-
you told me you didn't like Watchmen? Like that was one of the biggest reasons you didn't like Watchmen was that they made it about race. They made it about like the politicized race.
Well, I mean, I didn't like it because that aspect of it
Right.
didn't hold up enough as part of the main plot.
right.
It was only like a side plot.
Right. But what I'm saying is one of the reasons Sam's not going to one of the reason they're going to like, I think within the story, one of the reasons Sam is not being looked at to carry the shield right away, it's not going to be accepted right away, is going to be, there's going to be some sort of racial context to that.
I could definitely
Yeah,
see there being
I
like
can
a
see that.
racial context.
I think there will be.
Well, the only thing is like Endgame came like a lot longer,
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
like earlier than the Watchmen, and so they were planning this.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that they weren't planning it from the beginning. I'm
Mhm.
just saying that this is something that's been not only present in Watchmen, but it's been present in a lot of other material as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's something that's attractive and to modern day audiences. It's an idea, it's a theme that people like to see played with, right? So
I hope it's not all about that because the
Yeah, I hope
characters.
not
Definitely,
either.
it's definitely
Yeah,
not.
I
You
hope
can tell
not
from the
either.
I
trailer.
definitely want Sam Wilson.
I don't think
Yeah.
Marvel and Disney,
Because-
I don't see Marvel and Disney making it all about that.
But I
yeah.
do think it's definitely something they're going to recognize because it's kind of like what you could call the elephant in the room. Like it's definitely something
Yeah.
that, you know, and with like the reaction to what happened with Endgame,
Yeah.
and that'll definitely be an aspect. But I think it's more than just that. Also, it's this feeling like where like, can I even carry this mantle? Like the government is against me.
Yeah.
Then there's this whole other thing with like the not just US agent but Baron Zemo. So I think I'll just be like
Yeah.
very multifaceted and I don't know. I'm actually like I'm out of all three shows. I'm excited for WandaVision too. I'm really excited for this show. though.
I'm more
Yeah.
for WandaVision than
Yeah.
anything right now.
For me, it's Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then Loki. Loki looks so good.
Loki's
Well,
my
the-
number one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
And then probably WandaVision.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that Loki and Winter Soldier are like my two favorite characters. So
So-
it's not fair.
I wanted to point out that U.S. Agent kind of seems to be the antithesis to Captain America. Like
Yeah,
Captain
he's a-
America
he's a puppet.
would never run out onto a football field and like high five people.
Well,
and,
he
like,
did.
be
He
like
did,
that.
but he-
anymore.
But yeah,
anymore.
anymore. That's
Yeah, he
that's
did,
what
but
I'm
he
trying to
hated
say.
it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He just, he wants to be of service. Like that's really all he cares about, right? Is like helping people and standing up for truth, honor, and justice and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Where this guy is kind of, he's enjoying the celebrity of being the U.S. agent. It's almost kind of a callback to The Boys, where the boys are, like the heroes and the heroes in the Seven are very much celebrated in every aspect of culture, whether it be merchandising, whether it be films, whether it be television. Like in the world of The Boys, the superheroes actually have movies made about them, and they're not fictional. Like they literally take the fucking superhero from the world of The Boys and they put them into a movie. Right. So it's kind of interesting to see Captain America playing with that, or kind of see Falcon and Winter Soldier playing with that theme. Okay, and then from that point, we cut back to see Wanda and Vision, and they're kind of dressed like Steven and Elise Keaton from Family Ties, and the house looks like the house from Family
I thought
Ties.
that was like Full House.
I'm saying Family Ties.
I mean, I don't know if I've seen Family Ties, so I believe you.
Okay, and I have a theory why. Okay, we'll get into that. But I have a
Okay.
theory as to why these shows were chosen specifically, because they kind of fall in a certain time frame and they don't go beyond another. Like
Yeah,
they
they
go
stay
beyond a
for their
certain date.
Yeah,
So I kind of find that interesting.
and then you see the baby pacifiers.
They're shooting to the air,
Yeah,
and they're in
Doesn't-
bassinets or cribs or whatever. And then it cuts to Loki, and Loki's in this jumpsuit, and it says TVA on it.
Mhm.
And the TVA apparently is the time variation authority, which is basically like the Judge Dredd of like time cops.
Yeah. Essentially, it was they basically monitor and maintain the multiverse is what their sort of what their job is, which makes me wonder when Loki takes place in terms of Doctor Strange and the madness of the multiverse, and like how much like Loki is fucking it up.
Yeah. Not only that, but there needs to be some explanation as to he took the space stone in Endgame.
Yeah.
He took the space stone, not the time stone.
Right.
So what's happening here? Like some people are theorizing that maybe this is a prequel. Like maybe this is shit that happened before
Before what?
Endgame. Before he died.
I feel like it
before
starts
he came
before.
back.
I feel like it starts before a little bit because he gets the stone and then he disappears, and that's an Endgame. So I guess it's during, and I don't know.
That's during Avengers 1. So
Right.
it would be during that year. But the thing is, like, the thing with space time is it's so very easy to explain while traveling through space why you would be traveling through time is because those two are very linked. They can just make a throwaway explanation and I'd be happy with it.
Okay.
Because it'd be like, yeah, like space time is fucking weird.
But
like,
doesn't
like,
that undo the entire plot line in Endgame where they
No,
had
it
to go
doesn't.
get the time stone?
No, it doesn't because the whole entire point. So the thing about time travel that really impressed me with Endgame and Infinity War, or actually just Endgame, sorry, is they do a thing where nothing can ever be fixed by going back in time. So he like him doing stuff isn't ever gonna change this current universe of what do you call that, of like our main universe,
Right.
Which is like what happened in Endgame. So why would you think it would? So give me your point first, and then
In terms of what?
So why do you think it would change anything?
Because they could have just used the space stone to travel through time then, instead of going back to the ancient to get the time stone.
They like first of all, no one can harness it like Loki can. Like they use like the quantum realm because that's a technology that they had.
Right.
But it's like if
No,
Loki,
but I'm talking specifically about the time stone.
yeah, if Loki can travel back through time, it
Yeah.
still follows the same rules as the Avengers followed in Endgame,
Sure.
which is just like the physics of time travel in this world.
Sure.
Which means if he goes back in time and changes anything, he makes a new reality and
Sure.
it never changes.
But we've also never seen the Space Stone or the Tesseract demonstrate any sort of time traveling capability. It's always just open to space. Like it opened like it basically opens a wormhole, right?
Right.
That's essentially what it is. It opens a wormhole.
But if you can travel through a space in the same time as you are,
Right.
but that alternate reality is in a different time, right? So here's the thing: like you're not traveling through space time because the entire point of the the multiverse theory
Right.
is that like whatever possibility, because it's infinite, whatever possibility you're thinking of exists. So theoretically, you can travel through any space and time because it's not, you're not moving through space and time. You're just moving through space, but that timeline happens to be behind. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but I don't know
Like
if I
you're right.
necessarily
Like
buy that
it's
because like,
bending a lot of rules for
yeah,
sure.
they're
But
bending a lot of rules for sure. Like if he's traveling around in different dimensions, that makes a lot more sense to me than say traveling through time, right?
right.
Which is where kind of the whole TVA thing kind of throws me off because it just doesn't. There's no MacGuffin to support that at all. Like the time stone is gone. Like it's been zapped out of existence.
Right.
Right.
Actually, it hasn't. In
Oh,
his,
right.
in
It
his
got returned.
timeline.
Sorry, it
Yeah.
got returned back to the
No.
timeline.
Even in his timeline, it hasn't because he's like whatever 2004 or whatever. Like that never got zapped out,
That's
right?
too long ago, but
So-
yeah, he's like past.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, the time stone is with the ancient one and his timeline.
Okay.
So
right.
like if you can get a hold of it, right?
Right.
You're
maybe
right.
he
Like
does get a hold
you're
of it.
right.
I
Like
don't know.
he wouldn't even be able to travel in dimensions, only in space within his own dimension, I guess, because that's what the space stone does. Yeah, you have a point there. But the thing is, like all the Infinity Stones still exist in his timeline, right?
Well, maybe he goes back for one of the other stones. I don't know. But it just like as far as him disappearing with
actually,
the Tesseract.
It's not him per se. So he's not the violator of the space time. That's why he's in jail. It's because Captain America and Iron Man fuck up that timeline, right? So if they were gonna send cops to fix a timeline, he's a result of Captain America and Iron Man
Yeah.
fucking up that timeline,
No, for
right?
sure.
So it's not like he's not going. I mean, he might be. I hope he is, anyways. Like going around messing everything up. But it's not because he's traveling through time and space. It's because Captain America and Iron Man fucked that
Okay.
timeline up. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I guess so.
And then and what I heard was like this is gonna be like he's running away from time cops, which is
Yeah.
awesome. And I think like you said something about Owen Wilson.
Well, I mean, there could be two theories with Owen Wilson. One, he's either a time cop chasing after him, or he's the stupid Thor, Thunder Strike.
Right.
Yeah, they're saying that Owen Wilson may be cast as Peace Justice, and apparently all the time travel cops are called Pieces. So
I could see
or
Owen
Justice.
Wilson.
Sorry, Justice Peace, not Peace Justice. That makes no fucking sense at all. They're justices. So.
I could see Owen Wilson. Like I think it'd be really interesting because Loki is like very clever and is very chatty, and I feel like Owen Wilson's a little bit more slower. So I feel like there might be like this underestimating
Yes.
thing, and whereas like you know at first because it's like very different because like Loki will try to out talk you. Owen Wilson is don't even.
I've never seen him be formidable in anything, like,
Which I kind of
anything.
like.
I kind of want him to be another version of Loki. He's just like an Owen Wilson Loki.
Nice.
What if he plays Owen Wilson?
Yeah.
I feel like that's
What if
what
he
I'm
what?
thinking of.
What if Owen Wilson plays Owen
Oh,
Wilson?
that'd be funny.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
and he's a
funny.
time cop all along.
Wow.
Jeff, what's your read on this whole Tesseract?
Honestly, I think that because Loki's had the Tesseract around him more so than everyone else,
Yeah.
he probably knows how to use it way beyond anyone can expect. So he probably knows more inner workings, more powers that it can do than what we've known so far.
Right.
So who's
Sure.
to say he can't use it to travel through space, time, and whatever? Because we've never seen the Tesseract use it to any full potential other than the Gauntlet to like change the universe.
Sure. Okay.
So maybe there's other hidden powers that we don't know what has that
Right.
Loki knows that we don't.
Mm.
Sure. Okay.
And it also did that weird thing with Red Skull, right?
True.
Which hasn't been explained,
True.
right? As if it like knows how to.
True. But okay. You're a writer. I write. Saba writes. If you got pulled into a writer's room and
Yep.
somebody was like, here's the story, he needs to travel through time, and all you had was this Tesseract, wouldn't you just say, like, dude, I can't Let's make him travel through. Like, wouldn't you just want to be like, listen, he can't travel through time.
Yeah.
Let's just do dimension.
And I would be like, what if he steals a time stone from the ancient one
There's
because
a-
it still exists?
That would be a jump
and
off.
then
point.
Yeah.
I fucking
Okay.
And I would
Alright,
I would
fair.
love to see the ancient one get
Fair.
duped by this guy.
Loki, yeah. Do you
because
think, yeah.
because Doctor Strange made him look like a fool in Ragnarok, and I
he
hated
did.
that moment
when he kept
I
like
hated that.
falling, and then he kept trying to, yeah.
And then he's like, "You think I'm just some second-rate
That
magician?"
was the best.
I'm
what
like,
are you talking
"Ah."
about?
Man, Loki was so like the punchline in that movie, and I
know,
hated it
it's
because
falling
Loki's
for
one of
him.
my
I
favorite.
loved it. I loved it. I've
And
been
so-
falling for 13 minutes.
Oh yeah, the joke was
Yeah.
funny for
So
sure,
good.
but
So
yeah, I
good.
want to see him like get back at the Earth Sorcerers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, maybe that's part of.
Yeah.
No, wait.
But definitely-
you wouldn't experience that yet.
But definitely, like
So,
if we're thinking the time cops are after him because
Yeah.
he's traveling through time, that's not it.
Yeah.
The time cops are after him because he's fucking around because of Captain America's mistake and Iron Man's mistake. Or
Right.
sorry, yeah, Captain America and Iron Man.
Right. So that's basically the last shot of the trailer. So let's talk theories here, guys.
Yeah.
Do we want to do Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter
We kind
Soldier
of talked.
first?
We kind of talked a lot about what we thought in terms of what's going to happen there, and I think it really is going to be like, it'll be like kind of two storylines and maybe more, but like it'll be Falcon really assuming that mantle
Yeah.
with the government against him, and then whatever the heck is happening with like Baron Zemo
Sure.
Yeah.
and all of that. And I know that Agent Carter is also
Sharon
in
Carter.
it. Sharon Carter is
Yeah.
also in this as well, but I
Agent
don't
13.
think she works for Shield or anything anymore. So I think there'll be like interesting there. I feel like she's the one who's going to come with that to them for
Okay.
like something.
Okay.
The last time we saw her, she was CIA, I think. She was CIA in what do you call that?
Oh, yeah, she was CIA.
Winter Soldier, Civil War. Yeah, right.
Yeah, she was.
Um,
Yeah, she went to CIA.
So that'll be interesting to see.
Okay. So what do you guys? Okay. So what do you think the U.S. agent's role in terms of opposition to Sam and Bucky at this point?
He's the government
Government puppet.
puppet. Yeah,
Is
exactly.
he being used to chase them down? Like,
I
No,
think
to take
No.
control of the broken Avengers.
Yeah.
To like
To make their own team.
yeah.
Like one of the
Okay.
comic book things was Baron Zemo was hired by the government as well to make his own
right,
team.
the
right?
Thunderbolts.
The
Yeah.
Thunderbolts,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, it's possible that he's
Yeah.
part of the Thunderbolts as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And like the
I would like
Avengers
to
are
see the
like
Thunderbolts introduced. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
because like if the government made a team,
Yeah.
the public would only get behind it if Captain America was
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
right.
Right.
And I love this thing where it's like this shield became like a symbol now, like now more than ever. Because
Yeah.
now it's like not just Captain America's mantle, it's
Mhm.
the leader of the Avengers. That's
Right.
what whoever holds that shield, that's what that means.
Okay. So
Right.
big question: 2 shields or 1 shield?
I think it's one. I
One
think it's
shield.
one.
I think it's one shield.
So you think the U.S. agent is taking the shield back from
it,
Sam?
it does belong to the US government
Okay.
as far as I remember.
Unless like if they did a
Unless your Iron
second
Man is
shield.
his daddy's shield, remember?
Right, right. That's so true.
I think there's
Um,
2 shields. I really do.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
Because I think it's a better story. Like, just if the U.S. agent, like,
Does the
if the
US
American
agent-
government's just like, fuck it, we're not going to fuck with this guy,
Yeah.
and they just go and get him like
No,
some
but-
sort of
but,
replica
like-
shield. And I don't think that shield's vibranium.
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. I
Yeah.
could buy it if it wasn't a vibranium
I
shield.
think
See,
it's
like
not
that would
vibranium.
be a good story, but like the thing is, like, I don't know, like Sam willingly giving it up because of his like sense of duty,
Yeah.
because his government asks for it back, and then,
Right.
like whatever, it's and they're like discharging him or whatever, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he works, and then he actually like earns it in the end by the end of it. But yeah, like yours is probably easier to write than mine. So.
But yeah, and then now I think about it, like I don't. If the government was like, Sam, give me that shield, would he do it after everything he's been through? Like I feel like no, he wouldn't.
But
Trust.
the thing is, like, I think he would do it because he hasn't learned what he's supposed to learn throughout the
I
show
don't
yet.
think he would though, because he has so much respect for Steve.
yeah,
Right.
Steve gave him
It
that
gave
shield.
him the
It's his-
shit. Yeah,
it's
you're
his
right.
idol, his mentor,
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
who kind of trained him and brought him on. So
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
up the shield willingly doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
I don't
that's
Well, I
think
mean,
it
I
either.
mean, like he wouldn't keep it. He wouldn't leave it to the government till the end of the show for sure. Like he would get it back. But you're probably right.
What
like,
do you think Bucky and Falcon's relationship will be in this? Because usually in the movies it's been like, it's like that buddy cop feel, kind of antagonizing
It'll be
each
buddy
other.
cop.
But
I hope
there's
so.
there's
Yeah.
that shot
Better
of them kind of like grasping hands or whatever. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, my boys are getting along. And I just seem like these two people who are obviously very different, but also very important to like they both love
Yeah.
Steve is like the thing, the bonding force that
Yeah.
they kind of have.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really excited to see that on like TV. Like I'm really excited to see that relationship.
they better like butt heads, because that's the
100%.
tagline of the show, right? Like that's what I was the most excited about when this was announced, was like those two having like a
They better
bromance.
keep those like one-line quips at each other. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
that's what makes them.
Yeah,
So
Lethal Weapon right there.
Oh yeah.
Because I think they trust each other. But yeah.
I think U.S. agent's gonna end up being undercover Hydra. I think he's gonna be a double agent.
Everyone's
And-
undercover Hydra.
And
Yeah.
and I think that's what Bucky and Falcon are going to be working towards, is like either bringing him down
Yeah.
or trying to, establish some sort of evidentiary trail. And obviously Zemo will be tied into this somehow.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes the most sense to me,
Yeah.
honestly. Because otherwise, like, what objective do they have? Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like, what objective?
I mean, that's to be determined, right?
Yeah, I know,
We'll have
but
to
like,
figure- maybe
well-
it's to steal the shield back after they steal it from him.
that seems like a really weak objective
Yeah, I know,
for
I
the,
know, I know.
for
At least for,
the
like,
fun
an
of the
episode or
series,
something.
right?
Yeah, but if we look at the wing gliding suits, it could be Hydra. So the Hydra's probably the bad guy. I mean, the guys are wearing the green and yellow outfits like the Hydra agents.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
I
That's
think
kind of where I'm
Hydra's-
landing on
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, WandaVision.
Hey Frank, go.
Yeah. So,
You've been waiting.
dude, I don't think this is happening in Scarlet's mind. I think it's happening in Vision's.
You
I
it's
think
happening in Vision.
so. Infinity War, we see Shuri's
stone.
trying to take out the stone, but she's also trying to separate the good parts of Vision from the stone.
Oh,
So the personalities,
shit.
right? His personality is consciousness.
That's cool.
And I think Shuri somehow has managed to, download Vision's personality or consciousness somewhere, and Wanda's gone inside to kind of make some connection with him. And Vision, because of his limited perspective and his limited understanding of the world, because all he's really known is like he was literally born during a battle, and all he's been doing is fucking fighting with superpowered human beings, and maybe watching television on the side when he gets a chance. Right? So I think
Yeah.
he's watched a lot of syndicated television, and he's idealized what he's seen on television as far as these family motifs. And he's the one that said to Wanda that he wanted to take off with her too, right? In Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he made his mind up that he wanted to be with Wanda, and then he dies, and he's kind of like these unresolved emotions or feelings are still inside his consciousness. Because you really can't kill an AI, and they show you that even in Age of Ultron. Like Jarvis was thought to be dead
Right.
because of Ultron, but they find him,
Yeah.
and he's part Jarvis.
Yeah.
He's part Jarvis. He's part Tony, and he's part
Ultron.
Bruce.
There's also part of Ultron.
Yeah, and part Ultron.
Yeah.
So I think Wanda is in Vision's head trying to bring him back.
Right. Right.
Like I think that's more the case, because we see in that black and white motif, when we see Wanda
That's
in
pretty
full
cool.
color,
Yeah.
that's indicative of the fact that
You just jumped in.
there's a separation
yeah.
Yeah.
between this world and whatever Wanda's dealing with at the
Right,
time.
Right.
And then the whole thing where it's like, hello, Vision residents. I think that's the moment she gets pulled in too far.
Mm.
And then she's on this fucking ride to try and pull him out.
Or the first scene. That'd be pretty cool if he calls his world Vision residence.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
he-
Like it's very symbolic.
well, there's actually a comic. There's a Vision comic
Right,
where it's
yeah.
just literally about him leading this domestic life,
Yeah.
right? So it
with the
wouldn't
twins.
it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't surprise me. And then we see this progression of the marriage, the children, the pregnancy, the children, and then we see, and it's always like it's like goes 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And I think the one we were seeing here in the costume is literally the last episode,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's like Desperate Housewives, like early 2000s, late 90s.
Sure.
So yeah, that's kind of what my take is at this point. And plus, I think when Wanda and Vision are hanging out in Infinity War away from everybody else, they were literally trying to live off the grid, right? They're trying
Yeah.
to stay. So when you go to a shitty motel, what do they have? Syndicated television,
Right.
right? That's probably all they were fucking doing, is watching syndicated television.
There was another theory, though. I do like the theory, but there was another theory about Wanda growing up in like a different country and like only getting like American syndication
That's another thing I
shows.
was thinking too, but I
Because
don't think it's
I-
in Wanda's head.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, when I thought it was in Wanda's head, that was my theory. Because when you grow up in an Eastern Bloc country, that's literally all you have is syndicated American television,
Yeah.
right? No, it's a great.
Yeah.
It's a great theory.
So I like that theory a lot, but I think there would be kind of a missed opportunity with how we thought this would play out in conjunction with Wanda's sort of no, I don't want to say PTSD, but like the aftermath of losing everything,
Sure.
which is like our like at least I think our original theory, like this is the one I was rooting for, was like because of like she's been fighting this whole time. This like once everything became quiet,
Sure.
like all the trauma caught up to her after
Sure.
losing everything, and this like in this sort of like idyllic world that's hiding a darker secret is
Right.
like her psyche kind of like sifting through this trauma. And I think like it would kind of be a missed opportunity for Wanda's character development if it was Vision's head, because it would be her
I agree.
kind of like being the
And I think they missed the opportunity. They really do, because if you look at what we gotten from actual set photos, she's in the real world and she's dealing with other people. So Kat Dennings is in this show.
yes.
So is Monica Rambeau, as Monica. I can't remember the actress's name, but Monica Rambeau is a character in this, and so is Agent Woo from Ant-Man. So I think Scarlet. I think Wanda is really the only one that's interacting with people on the outside of whatever this existence is,
Yeah.
right?
It could be. I think it could be a bit of both, because I do see, because there is this thing like of Wanda wanting to bring back Vision, and maybe there is some way that she can do it.
Mm-hmm.
In doing so, and to access it, she maybe somewhat creates this world that they live in. Like, I don't know. It could be.
Yeah, and
like
then Vision's kind of offering her a world where she doesn't have to like kind of like live with the pain. Maybe
it could be something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They could. All I know is like this show is definitely not going to be like anything they've done before.
No.
Yeah.
And what the actress Elizabeth Olsen kept saying was like, this show is weird. I remember her saying that, like, this is going to be weird.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Which I
definitely
do
going to be
like.
weird.
Which I am very excited for.
Definitely going to be weird. Like Catherine Hahn's in it, and nobody
love
understands who she's playing.
Oh, I
yet.
love her though. She's
Or,
so
like,
funny.
Yeah, she is funny.
A couple things too. Isn't it weird that Vision still has the Mind Stone, even though it was
That was
destroyed?
weird.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it shows in all
Exactly.
the clips.
Exactly. And then
Oh,
the
he's
other
not
thing.
in human form.
Sorry.
He's not in human
He's not in
form.
human form at
No.
all, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, when he dies in Infinity War, he goes black and white. He
Yeah.
loses all his color.
Mm.
And then we first jump off and we see him. It looks like he's in black and white. So that's one of the other things that's making me say this is Vision's consciousness that
100%.
Scarlet's walking around in.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
Another
Scarlet,
cool theory.
Wanda.
Another cool theory I was reading. What if Scarlet Witch is talking to her mentor from the comic books, Agatha Harkness,
Yes,
who's helping her go into the mind of Vision to bring him back?
That's
could
cool.
be.
Yeah, that's cool.
Could be. But
Yeah.
wouldn't we have to be pre-introduced to that character?
I mean, it could be in the very first episode. Who's
Yeah.
to say it
Could
can't
be.
Because she
Yeah.
is dealing with people in the real world.
Right.
Maybe she deals with the people in the real world in the first episode,
Right.
and then all the other episodes are through the mind.
Yeah.
Right.
When you were saying your theory, I thought this is where you're going, was this whole thing takes place during that operation that Shuri was like doing on him,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like Shuri's like kind of separating like his consciousness with the Mind Stone, and it's
Right.
like the core of his consciousness comes from his relationship with Wanda, and it's like this sort of like, well, but then we know how that story ends, I guess.
I think the core of his consciousness comes with his relationship with humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
But
As a
if
whole.
Wanda's like, Wanda's kind of like the arbiter of that, because she's the one that like humanizes him the most, right? But like it doesn't work anyway. Like I just thought of like a cool thing where it's, what if this whole thing's happening during the during the
five-
operation,
Yeah.
like in Infinity War, but then he dies like
But
right after.
do we know? So wait, this is the one thing I gotta be sure of, because I always get confused with like the shows and like all the timelines. Are we 100% sure this takes place after
No.
Endgame?
Nothing's
No?
100% sure.
No, we're not 100%
Oh.
sure about
Nothing's.
anything.
Okay.
This could be happening after, like, during the snap. Who knows where they went during the
Yeah.
snap? Who knows, man? Like,
Oh, this
That's-
could
that's
be
the fun
all
of it.
snap.
because
That's
I think somebody
It's
said
6 episodes, so maybe like I don't even know.
so
Almost
like
5
this
years.
is kind of the fun of it, because I think somebody was saying that like that's kind of how you're meant to watch this, is like you're supposed to ask when this is happening. So they'll never tell you until the last episode. They probably won't even tell you until
I love shows like that.
what do you call that? Until Doctor
The-
Strange, right? That like you
Oh,
probably
like
find
make
out.
us watch that movie.
Yeah, well, not make us. So yeah, they probably like tell you when this is, like past season finale, probably like the movie Doctor Strange.
The moment in the trailer when we first see Wanda kind of seeing Vision again for the first time, and we see that smile, I feel like that smile is more indicative of the fact that he actually recognizes her. That's what I
Sure.
kind of got from it. I didn't really get like, oh my God, you're still alive. I got like, you recognize me
Mm.
still,
Mhm.
right? It was kind of like, I don't know, like I'm going to I'm gonna die on this hill, man. I really think
That's cool.
that Wanda is in Vision's consciousness at this point. It just the
That'd be a cool
pieces
story.
are bigger and they're a lot more meatier
Yeah.
in terms of, you know, Wanda, or instead of Wanda kind of creating her own reality. Because one, she doesn't have this power set yet. And we do want to see eventually her to get there, but yeah. Now, the name Shuri has come up a couple times during our WandaVision conversation. And speaking of Shuri, there are rumors floating around right now that T'Challa is potentially going to be replaced by Shuri as the Black Panther in the MCU. I hate this idea.
Well, first, let's actually talk. So we got this covered, mentioned that
There's lots of other people that mentioned it.
other than we got this covered.
Other than we got this covered. Yes.
Okay, so they did mention that there was this idea of replacing T'Challa at some point.
I love how we got this covered under the bus
I'm just
every time we
saying,
talk about it.
but they tease that there could be that they could like kind of pass on the mantle like they've done before.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know if Shuri's name was brought up, but people started theorizing Shuri because obviously if you are passing it, like that would be the only one I think in terms of the movie that would make sense unless you just bring in another character. So people were theorizing that, but there's nothing that's been 100% confirmed. I don't know if like Coolidge would write that script anyway, but yeah, sorry,
Kugler,
Jeff.
no,
Honestly, if
Kugler's writing
Kugler?
it. Kugler's directing it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Honestly, if they do it, it makes sense. They do it at the end of Black Panther 3. That
I
would
agree.
Make the most sense.
I'm okay with that.
Give T'Challa
okay
his
with
trilogy,
that.
like everyone else got their
Yes,
trilogy,
I'm okay with that.
and then pass the mantle on to
Yeah.
like the new Avengers.
100%.
Yeah.
However, though, you might get people being like, "Oh, you just followed the same recipe with fucking Thor. Like, what the
But
fuck,
Marvel's
man?"
been following the same recipe for the last
Yeah,
decade.
I think
so
Marvel-
we all love it. So what does it matter?
Yeah,
That's true.
I
That's
think
true.
I think that makes sense. I'm trying to think the reasoning of why they want to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, because I could see them eventually passing it on to Shuri.
Yeah.
That's not crazy. It happens in the comics as
Right.
well.
Shuri was a badass Black Panther in the comics. Like, she was a really dope Black Panther. But T'Challa hasn't gotten his day in the light yet.
And T'Challa's like the Hal Jordan, right? Like he's the Black Panther. Like why are we even talking about this? He hasn't even gotten his second movie yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally
and like
agree.
Shuri, like,
And he hasn't even
has
gone
an
up
id-
against anybody. That's like his, like,
Yeah.
you know, is
So he is facing. Who is he facing in the second one? I forgot.
the rumor is potentially Doctor Doom or the Submariner. That's the
I thought it
rumor.
was Submariner.
I thought it was a Submariner
Yeah.
too, but I'm not 100% sure.
Doctor Doom would be pretty cool.
Well, Captain Marvel mentions, or no, sorry, Okoye mentions something
Oh,
about
yeah.
some shift underneath.
Yeah, it was
blah, blah, blah,
it was
blah.
an earthquake.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
earthquake underneath the
Underwater,
ocean.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like they're saying that was like the hint drop
Right.
for Submariner. I would love to see Submariner. Like, I think he's an interesting character because he was never really a good guy or a bad guy. He was just kind of, all his decisions were made in the context of his own perception, and his perception was just the best. What's the best for Atlantis, right?
Right.
What's the best
Mhm.
for my people,
Yeah.
right? And I think when you introduce a character like that, things can be really interesting.
Well, I was reading this. It says Coogler has not confirmed the rumors about Shuri. The transfer power could happen in the upcoming sequel or even Black Panther 3.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that eventually. Like Jeff said, like it eventually, I can see that happening eventually because like I don't think, a lot of like the main people have sort of stepped back.
Yeah.
But I do see him having like another movie that is definitely like his own. And then
I hope so. Like he's at least got to face somebody who's of significance in the Marvel universe, especially since they've just bought the rights to Fox, right? Like there needs to be something of substance.
And like right now, I think Shuri's in a good place. Like she's very marketable right now.
Yeah.
With current Shuri.
I think
Like
so
a fucking
too.
double fisting gun thing. That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's like,
the Panther gun. or
Why
whatever the hell it is.
like
I feel like
just let her be her own identity for now. Right?
Yeah.
I
don't-
feel like the first like Black Panther movie was really, and I think with a lot of the first movies of these like trilogy kind of things of these characters are them coming into their own and like figuring themselves out. Whereas the second one is where they kind of get into that other conflict, and then the third one is like where they're like, all right, guys, I've done what I've had to do and like moved on.
I've dealt with 3 problems.
And it's like, yeah, this is it
That's
for
the
me.
extent of my royal.
There's-
But he
my
needs
royal
like
patience.
a real problem. Honestly, Black Panther 1.
Namor would be a big
Yeah,
problem for
because
him.
in the first one, I feel like he did not much to help himself. He was always
Yeah.
aided along the way. So
Yeah.
he needs a movie where like he
I agree.
struggles through everything and he pulls
I
himself
agree.
out of the dirt.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's true.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It was just like, it was a family kerfuffle. That's what Black Panther 1 was.
Yeah.
To me, that was a family kerfuffle. Like you had a shitty brother who showed up the last minute at family dinner, and you didn't see eye to eye on things, and shit went.
And then he beat you at arm wrestling, and
Yeah.
then you woke up and you beat him at arm wrestling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, like not that it isn't a good movie. Like it certainly followed the the plot beats for Lion King, but nobody talks about that ever.
I feel like you mention that all the time.
I do.
And I feel like other
do.
people might mention it as well.
I do, but yeah, I know, but nobody wants to talk about it because, like, if you don't like Black Panther, you're a racist. That's the label that comes down with
Black
that.
Panther had some
I
problems
think you
as
could
a movie, but
like talk about it in terms
More
of
than
like
some.
being similar. I still think I really enjoyed that movie in general.
Yeah, I liked it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it.
It had its problems, I think.
It had its moments too. It had some great moments, like the whole chase scene in Korea.
Nah, man,
So good.
Fucking duel scene where he loses. That was so awesome. But like the waterfall duel
Mhm.
scene.
That was pretty good.
Man, they should have fought there again the second time.
That's pretty good. But I think this is indicative of something that's happening across a lot of mediums. There's a big push to change male characters into more female characters. And it's happening on Arrow. Like Stephen Amell just left the show and he's being replaced by his daughter Mia. It's happening
But
on
Stephen Amell wanted to leave like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And they like
Yeah, he was
gave him a
done.
lot of money, and
Yeah.
then he was like, "Oh, all right."
But
I'll
then at
stay.
the end, he was kind of like regretting it a bit. So.
Well, he's gonna be a wrestler now, that's why.
What?
Yeah. Oh,
No,
yeah,
he
the
says
wrestling
he's
show.
not-
WWE?
No. He's got his own wrestling show, like
Yeah.
a TV show. About wrestling coming out.
But he's been going through a
Interesting.
lot lately
Something called
too,
Heels,
because like
something
I don't know
like
if you
that.
saw
Oh, yeah.
the Rosenbaum, like the Rosen, or you listened to the podcast, but he
Michael
had,
Rosenbaum?
yeah, he
No,
had
I didn't listen to it.
Oh, the
Oh, he had
Inside
a-
of You podcast? Yeah.
he had a panic attack during the podcast actually, and had to leave 'cause
Stephen Amell had a panic attack?
during
Oh, yeah.
the podcast and had to
Holy
leave and come
shit.
back because he's at a time where it's a transitional time for him, and I felt
Yeah.
so bad, and it was so he like came back to talk about it and everything.
yeah.
Like,
Wow, I got
That's
listen
the
to
problem
that.
with doing a role for too long.
yeah,
I got to listen to that.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's crazy. Wow.
but we love Stephen Amell here.
Yeah,
Exciting.
but and it happened with Thor, and it's probably going to happen with a bunch of
It's
other heroes as
Hawkeye.
we move
It's Hawkeye
forward.
I'm really sad about, but only because I wanted to see more
But-
original Hawkeye
With
do
the
stuff.
Thor one, Taika Waititi had even said he's like Thor is still Thor. Like he even
Mhm.
said it because people were like kind of freaking
Yeah,
out.
that's to be. Yeah, it's to
Yeah,
be
he's like-
determined.
Yeah,
He's
that is
like-
to be determined for
Yeah,
sure.
he's
but-
like
but-
Thor is Thor. Like that is Thor. He's like, but Natalie Portman's character is
Yeah.
going to be there. Like Natalie Portman is not taking up a mantle after.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know for sure.
I feel like with what Taika said, it was very clear that that wasn't the case. But
Well, it's not clear either way. So like we can't be talking about stuff that hasn't happened yet.
right.
But I get your point. But I guess the question now is like, is it done right or is it done wrong? Because sometimes it's done right, right? Like
yeah, sometimes it is done
Yeah.
right, 100%. But
like
if
the
I look
Wasp
back
was
at,
like the Wasp was
the
perfect.
Wasp's a fantastic character. Okay, the Wasp is probably one of the stronger female characters in all of the MCU, right? And she honestly doesn't get enough screen time. I think that the Wasp character is fantastic, but the ones that have been, I guess, put up on a pedestal in the world of
Yeah,
Marvel,
sure.
and I'm specifically talking about Captain Marvel, have been a failure in my eyes. Like just an unequivocal failure. Like that character is not well developed. That character, is not well performed, and
especially compared to
falls
Wanda.
flat.
'Cause
yeah,
I think Wanda
Wanda's amazing.
hit all the right beats.
Yeah,
As from a writer's perspective,
Yeah.
where it's like you gave her realistic faults, you gave her realistic strength,
yeah,
and then like you made her really powerful, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
yeah. And you made her morally ambiguous when we first met her. Right?
That was the best part about her.
You
honestly.
made her morally ambiguous when we first met her, but when she saw the damage that she was causing, she did a 180. Right? She changed her mind and became one of the Avengers. She started-
That's kind of my point. Is that like that as a concept, what you were saying isn't a
Mhm.
problem when it's done right, right? Like it's not done. Like when it's done, if it's a Wanda,
yeah.
like yes, do it. That's awesome. But if it's a Captain Marvel, don't make it sound like it's all Captain Marvels out there. Like it's not. Like you know what I'm trying to say.
No. I'm not. I wasn't trying to say that it was all Captain Marvels. I was saying that they put her on a pedestal.
Oh, okay.
Like because that's
like
unequivocally
Feige
true.
like put her on a pedestal.
Right.
I personally didn't.
But he's also
I-
where the buck stops with that company, right?
And I did enjoy. It definitely is not my favorite Marvel movie, Captain
Yeah.
Marvel. I did enjoy it. Also, box office wise, whatever you want to say about the movie was like a smashing success. So there's not like they're probably going to. I don't know what they're going to follow for the formula for the second movies. She's not my favorite Marvel character, but I did enjoy the movie. I thought the acting was okay. The thing that kind of annoyed me, the only thing that kind of annoyed me about the movie was the storyline was very like predictable. That was what got to me. Whereas like I could so tell like, yeah, these guys are brainwashing. Like even from the trailers, I was like, oh, this is kind of so obvious. Like it was just a very predictable storyline, even coming from a comic.
I had a problem with their conflicts.
But
Shouldn't
that was
have any.
Shouldn't have any.
Shouldn't have any conflict.
Shouldn't have any. Shouldn't have anything. She didn't have anything.
There was no like I'm gonna lose this. It's always, oh, that's the next challenge. I'm gonna beat it. Oh, I'm gonna beat this next one. Oh, you were tricking me. I'm gonna beat that.
The one challenge, the one conflict I will say that she had was, and I guess we've seen a lot, is like, and I guess it's not a conflict in terms of it's just her falling down and having to push through, which I do like the idea of her like having to push through situations where she feels like she doesn't quite belong in, or like she's being told she doesn't like belong in. I do like that aspect of her. I know Christina really enjoys that movie. Like I know that's one of her like probably like her tops. It's not definitely not one of my tops, but I can see and I do see the complaints or not complaints, but I do see the things because I also don't like when like studios like use a female character as a means of a way to like sell a story instead of like actually exploring a really interesting character. And I like the chance. I like that there's like this, you know, more chances given to that because I know like 20 years ago that wasn't really the case where you know you get to explore these really cool characters and plus it like can make money. So when you have like a well-developed female character like Wanda, and I think other characters we kind of see in the MCU and we're going to hopefully see with Black Widow, I do like that. And I hope they continue that way. And I'm kind of with Chris. If things are done properly and it makes sense for the story, I think I'm kind of all for it. It just has to kind of like fall through. Yeah,
listen, I've said this 1,000 times. My favorite Jedi of all time is Ahsoka Tano, right? I think she's one of the best characters ever created in any pop culture anywhere. Love her. I think she's amazing. And she's a well-developed character, but there's something happening in the world of media where gender parity is becoming more important than storytelling. And I think it's more evident in the world of the CW than anywhere else. Like DC's gone fucking nuts. Like I'm not like their new version of the Arrow show is going to be an all-woman kind of show. There's no male characters to play off of. There's no conflict to create. Like that's to me that's stupid.
You have to think about CW because like I think you're basing all off of the CW and think of their like fan base.
I'm basing it on
like
DC,
I know their
to be
fan
honest.
base is definitely like wide DC fans, but a lot of people who watch the CW in terms of like shows are often like females as well. So I can see them like honestly all the Arrowverse shows. I do like the Arrowverse. They're kind of corny, like right. Like we're all on the same page on like how
depending
corny
on what show it is. Like
I love the Flash.
Once you get
so
past
much.
season 3 on Flash, it gets a little cornball.
It
right?
was corny before that.
Not
I
season
still watch.
1. Not season 1. No way.
I feel like all of them had their corny seasons though, but they all bring it back to something serious and really good.
Yeah.
In some aspects, but season 1 of the Flash is fantastic. Season 1 of Arrow is fantastic.
Season 2 of Arrow is like.
Season 2 of Arrow is pretty
really good too.
Yeah, like those. Obviously, when you get into this type of genre stuff, you really have to have the right people on board so you don't run out of runway in terms of storytelling. And there's been a lot of like recycled storylines and characters interswitched.
I mean, with Flash, it's like, oh, new villain.
Yeah.
He's super fast.
Yeah.
I still love it and I will still watch every episode.
Yeah. I don't like that the whole recipe of catch one villain, one show, and then push the larger story arc through as we're catching this villain. And then try and catch the bigger villain. Like I hate that about it. I wish it was like just a bigger story where there wasn't like one villain per week kind of thing. I think that's kind
like
of a weak element of it.
Like,
yeah, I know, but still, I don't know.
Do you like that? Do you like that recipe, Geoff?
I don't know, man. I'm kind of used to it. Like the whole Freak of the Week thing started from Smallville, right?
Freak of the Week,
Oh,
nice,
yeah.
Nice Freak of the Week. I like that.
So like it's worked for them.
That is
since
true.
then. So
Yeah.
like just continue what works.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, speaking of CW, one of the better female developed characters is Caitlin Snow. Like how she became Killer Frost. Like that was really fucking cool to have two consciousnesses just basically battling with each other for supremacy. That was dope as shit.
I liked,
like that's interesting.
I liked Laurel Lance.
I like Laurel too. I was about to say
I like
Laurel.
Laura Lance as well.
She's cool.
Oh,
I
dude.
like her.
But like the double character going through the Black Canary through Black Siren.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah, that got a little ridiculous.
That was kind of iffy. Yeah, that was definitely
and
kinda
and
iffy.
that was like trying to subvert expectation bullshit.
Yeah.
Where it's like we all know she's Black Canary. No. She's not Black
Yeah.
Canary. She's White Canary or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Like fuck off with that. Just write a proper character.
Yeah. And even Sarah Lance's story is a little tired. Like she falls out of a boat and she washes up on the island.
Yeah.
And she
That
becomes
felt like
I hated the flashback. Can I tell you, flashback scenes were probably my least favorite in Arrow at the beginning.
The best ones were in Japan. They were so
The
good.
Japan ones are good, but like
So
I got
good.
sick
I
of that
liked it.
island so fast.
Oh, I like the island. I don't know.
like the
Like
island.
I didn't like the Sarah. I felt like the Sarah thing was like, wait, we need a new idea.
Yeah.
What if Sarah lives? Like I felt
Yeah.
like that was a tacked on thing.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. They wrote themselves out of it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I
for
don't know.
sure.
I would say by the end of it, like 8 seasons of Arrow, and I haven't actually watched the end yet, so I don't know if there's spoilers. I definitely feel like I've heard everything already, just because
Yeah.
you can't avoid it. I do feel like they have a CW vibe to it, even
Yeah.
though it's DC.
Yeah.
Because if you watch, like, I know I don't watch like Young Justice or the other shows or the
Young
movies, but I
Justice
know
is fantastic.
But I know like the animated movies have like
Yeah.
a completely different vibe. So I feel like
Yeah.
whatever studio is like taking it on, because then you watch Titans DC Universe, and I started
Yeah.
watching second season of that, and that vibe is like so dark and
different, yeah.
completely
Love it.
different.
Love Titans.
Second season,
Love
I'm really
Titans.
liking so far.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, Jeff's
But-
trying to get me to watch it. I'm not. We'll see.
I mean, there's some questionable stuff in Titans too. Like the whole Trigon thing lasted so
Oh
that
my
was
gosh.
so
short.
weak.
It ended
That
in
was
like
so
the first.
weak.
Yeah,
Okay, I don't want to
it
give
was
a
like-
spoiler.
I was like, how are you gonna kill this this?
I thought it was gonna last
amazing
the whole
demonic
second
character?
season.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Like
that was the
episode
entire.
1.
That was an entire arc in Teen Titans, the original, the
Yeah.
cartoon
Yeah.
show.
Trigon,
and it's
yeah.
I
like-
legit thought it
There
was going
was
to
a
be the
movie
whole
on it,
second
too.
season.
Yeah, there's an entire DC animated film dedicated to that character,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they fucking snuffed him off. Granted, you get Deathstroke, but still, like it doesn't warrant,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't warrant at all.
Anyways, that was a tangent.
Yeah,
Let's-
we really went off.
No,
because
but
we haven't
like-
talked about DC enough.
Yeah, it came up because it's happening way too often. Like
Sure.
gender parity is taking over the need for good storytelling,
I don't agree at all. But
well, the evidence is there, man. Like if you really start to look at the casting
Yeah.
of the
It
of
happens,
shows
but
in the
if
last
it-
5
if
or 10 years,
it happens, but like
it's
the
at an
question is like,
alarming rate, dude.
is it like an epidemic or not? I mean,
don't
like bad
think-
bad writing is always gonna like propagate. Like politics is always gonna seep into writing, into the creative
It
space.
should.
And it's like,
it's where we express those thoughts and feelings, right?
well, no, the thing is like, there's a difference between the writer's creative feelings
Yeah.
and some agenda that needs to be pushed.
Right.
And it's like that's what we all need to keep our eye open is whether or not the motivation's proper. Like if you're trying if the entire point of you writing a creative work is this political thing, go
Yeah.
for it. But if you're writing something and then you want to inject this thing like as an afterthought, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the question is like is it happening too often or not, right? Like
Right.
and we're never gonna answer it in this studio.
Well, if
let's-
if you take the example of Batwoman, right? That thing is a critical fucking dumpster fire.
But that's because like that's like the storyline and whatever else. I don't think
Sure.
that has to do just with her.
It has a
herself.
lot to do with the character, 100%.
I haven't really watched the show, but I remember watching the trailer being
She
like
shit talks
this kind of.
Batman every time,
It just
every
felt
opportunity
corny.
she gets, man.
Yeah.
She doesn't give credit to Batman
I think that was an example
as a
of
legacy
push.
character, like as the legacy behind who she becomes.
Yeah.
She doesn't give credit to him. She fucking shit talks him the entire time, and that's what's happening in the context of this gender parity, is where male characters are being subjugated into either like dummies, idiots, or they're toxic, right?
But I don't think that happened with Arrow. Like I feel like Arrow left, and then like Greg Berthon, how do you say his last name?
Greg Berlanti.
Like he's like creating this whole like Arrowverse, all these shows.
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
like,
happen all the
DC
time for sure.
Yeah, like I don't
Yeah,
think
I'm
it's
not saying all
happening
the
to the
time.
point.
Yeah.
But there's definitely shows that are there's hits and misses. I think in the case of Batwoman, like that would some people would call it like obviously a miss in terms of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I haven't seen like the new Arrow show. I don't know how that's gonna go.
Canaries.
But with the canaries and stuff, but I haven't seen, so I don't know
I'm
how
not
it's
watching
going
it.
to go. But I do like
It's interesting they changed the
the
name though. Like
characters.
it's Green Arrow and the Canaries, but they're just calling it Canaries. I think.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, it's Green Arrow and the Canaries.
Oh, I thought they're just calling it Canaries. I'm like, that's just stupid.
My understanding was it would be Green Arrow and the Canaries. So me is the new Green
Green
Arrow,
yeah.
and the Canaries are Dinah Drake and
And Laura Lance.
Laura Lance and somebody else. And yeah.
Well,
so,
we'll have
I
to
don't
see.
know.
Like
Yeah.
you can't assume that it's like some. I agree with you. Like the problem is like it's like Batwoman wasn't a miss. The methodology of making that show
Yeah.
was we'll ride this thing and not actually do any writing.
Yeah.
Like that was a misfire. It wasn't
Right.
like let's do our best to make a show. Oh, it didn't work. That wasn't the problem. The problem was like you guys weren't making a goddamn show. You were making a political statement.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Then we can't assume that like all female teams like shows or whatever it is, it's gonna be that, right? Like there is space to make that. There's definitely space to make that and do it right.
Yeah.
Like you're right. It's pretty scary to have a lot of like people pushing an agenda to get their fingers into the pie.
Yeah.
But we can't assume that off the bat because then how you're falling into the same trap they are, which is like all female like teams are gonna be this badly written thing. Like we have to wait until it happens. But but to be fair, Saba, like it is important to point that out when it happens, right?
No, I do think that's why I said like Batwoman for me was like a clear example of that, even from just watching the trailer.
Right.
But I don't think it's like some crazy like epidemic that like everyone's like gender swapping now. Like be careful. Like I don't think it's anything like that. It's
Batwoman's
definitely
problem
like
is not the gender thing. It's just terrible storytelling.
Yeah.
Terrible villain.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'm not saying that,
but from a production point of view, that was like a push towards like this whole like I don't want to say high, but like you know what I'm trying to say. Like, this whole like political movement to like kind of backpacking off the success of projects that have worked in that realm, but it wasn't like they just didn't take the time to make a proper story.
It's like lazy.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's like you're being lazy and you're trying to sell off something.
Yeah.
Which is like,
and it's like bad. Like if
for me, it's
really,
more bad writing.
Yeah, and it's kind of like detrimental to the feminist cause if you think about it, because
it's completely detrimental.
you're just like puppeteering all of these female characters.
Yeah, and you're just justifying what all these basement dwelling neckbeards say. Like you're just justifying it by fucking making such a half-assed effort. Like you know, because these guys are just saying that these characters are Mary Sue. Sorry?
Here's the message of the day, and we can end this conversation because this tangent's too long. Make Wandas and not Captain Marvels.
Make Wandas and Captain Marvels.
Can we move on?
Yes, I agree. Use that as your template to create a female character. So the next thing coming up in our talk abouts today is something completely unfamiliar to me because the only RPGs I ever got into was South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Oh my lord!
And South Park,
great game.
Yes, and South Park, the Fractured Butthole. Fantastic games.
So this game is a little different than both of those.
Probably.
But I don't know if you guys have heard, but Final Fantasy VII Remake has been basically announced for years. They keep delaying it. And now there's an April 10th date of release, and we just watched the trailer. And the one thing I said was, if Cloud doesn't cross-dress in this game, I'm going to be so mad. And guess what? He's there, the honeybee. He gets all prettied up.
With braids.
Very, very pretty.
Guys, what did you think of the trailer, though?
Honestly, visually beautiful, stunning. Like, it looked really good. The subtle changes they've made to, like, how the gameplay is, I'm okay with it. I'm kind of interested to see how different it is from the whole regular turn-based and how it changes everything. Because I feel like the whole turn-based from like Final Fantasy VII is kind of what made the game as well.
Yeah, I wonder how limit breaks will work in this.
Yeah.
In terms of that. And also I liked actually watching the story. Like they seem to be filling in a lot of the blanks.
Yeah. Like I just like the world itself, I think like that's what's gonna draw people.
Yeah.
Is because like when Crisis Core came out, a lot of people didn't like the combat. Geoff, what do you think if it's like Crisis Core combat? Would you hate it?
No, I wouldn't mind it.
Because some people hated it.
I mean, to each their own, right? But like the whole combat style in Crisis Core was fine to me.
Yeah.
Like I had no issues with it.
For me, the appeal of Crisis Core was like seeing this world properly, like in this 3D, and
Actually,
it looks
Midgar.
really nice. It looked very Advent Children, and I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. Especially the scene. There were scenes I forgot about, like the bike race at the very end. We had that opening scene with them and Niblehem, like just sitting on like the little thing and just like chatting.
Yeah.
I was telling Chris I wasn't a fan of Eris growing up.
Right.
And then end of first disc, I felt really bad about that. And then I was like, I like you, because I was like a Tifa stan.
Me too, Tifa.
Tifa and Cloud forever.
Yeah. I think it was pretty funny when people were complaining about Tifa's bust size. That was a lot smaller.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, it was a huge controversy. People were getting angry that her bust size wasn't the same as like the original.
Was that a thing?
Guys, she has to fight, man. She
also like the pixelated version inside the PlayStation 1 was like so. It's like like the pixelated, so it just looked over the top.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice. I still think she looks real good.
Yeah. I don't want to see Zack die a third time.
I don't want to see that.
Man, that's all I keep thinking about is like Crisis Core was just pretty much for me was this like upgrade, like visually upgraded version of watching my boy die a second time, and now I have to do it a third time.
I'm very excited to play this game in English for the first time ever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've
Apparently,
never-
Geoff,
Yeah.
you played it in only Japanese.
Only Japanese, so like
No subtitles?
no subtitles. So I kind of got it ahead of time.